What's up, lifers? What's up, lifers? What up, lifers? What up, lifers? What up, lifers? Hopefully, y'all can hear me. It's Dave Life. It's Dave Life. You're watching the After Dark podcast. This is Dave Life. You're watching the After Dark podcast, episode 292. Conversation bullies. Conversation bullies. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight, man. So I want to say thank you. So let's do this like we always do. Let's start it off the right way. Heavenly Father, have your way, Lord. I pray that you would speak to your people. Father, I pray that you would enlighten us, entertain us, inform us. Lord, I pray less of me and more of you. Have your way. Let us have a great conversation tonight. Forgive us of our sins that we've committed, both by commission and omission. Charge to our heads and not our hearts. Again, let's have a healthy conversation. Let's get to the bottom of something and have a great time doing it. We give you all the praise and glory and honor in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. Yo. We're in the building tonight. We are in the building tonight. What's up, lifers? Welcome back, man. It's another episode of After Dark. Another episode of the After Dark podcast. Again, this one is called Conversation Bully. Conversation Bully. Is he or she a poor communicator, or are you a conversation bully? That's really the subtitle there. If you want to support After Dark and After Dark podcast, you can hit us on Cash App at $DaveLifeTV. Hit us on Cash App at $DaveLifeTV, or hit us on Venmo at DaveLife. All right, now that that's out the way, let me bring up some people that's going to help me with this conversation. First in line, I have my sister from another mister. She's here. She's regular. She has a great conversation and communicates really well and contributes greatly to the show. She is as deep as the ocean. She falls down like rain, like them old gospel songs, rain down on me. Come on up to the stage, Ocean's Rain. What's up, Rain?
Good evening. Hi, lifers. Hello, everyone.
Hey, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling great. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm good. I got my shades on. Tonight I'm rocking a t-shirt that y'all really can't see. It says Slutty Vegan.
Oh, I love that place. It's so good.
I have an opinion. I'm not gonna say I love it. Maybe we went on a bad day, but it was cool. But I expected a well put together meal, and I got fast food that was kind of thrown together. I wasn't too.
Oh, was it a long line? So like when they weren't in it, I went when I was in Atlanta, and it was a long line. Was it a long line and then lots of people?
It was long enough. It was in Atlanta. It was long enough. It was the one in Gwinnett County. And maybe we just went during a bad time. It was Christmas last year. We bought all this merch, and then we got the food home, and we weren't in love with it. But maybe we'll give it another chance. But
yeah,
we'll see. I got somebody else waiting in the wings. This brother right here is, look, man, his movie is going to be coming out in May of next year. The new Superman movie, because we call him Superman. I guess he's the black Superman, though. Come on to the stage, my man, Superman Dre.
Hey.
Dre, did you ever tell us why and how you got the nickname Superman? Did you ever explain that to the show?
Honestly, when I was doing security and bodyguard work, I always had something like this on. And a lot of people may not remember my name, so they just remember, oh, that's that Superman guy. So that's how it started. It started about maybe 7 years ago. So That's how the nickname came about.
That's what's up, man. Is Superman one of your favorite characters?
Oh yeah. I'm a comic book geek, man.
That's what's up. Me too, man. I knew there was a reason I liked you, Dre. I knew we got along for a reason. I can't wait because the new trailer just came out. It just came out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So that's gonna be dope. So look, y'all, tonight we're gonna get into the conversation. Is he or she a poor communicator, or are you just a conversation bully? Now I saw the clip that I'm gonna play in a little second, and it was interesting, man. It was interesting because it came from a female perspective, talking to other women, and she was basically saying, "Hey, ladies, is your man a poor communicator, or are you a conversation bully?" Meaning, Are you somehow dominating or something like that? So let me ask the panelists. Rain will be back in a second. I think she's got some friends that are going to try to join the show.
Mhm.
So Rain, wave at me when you're ready. I see you in the backstage in the green room. So Dre, and when you think of conversation bully, what comes to mind? How does that word affect you?
Well, it affects me like a lot of people like to speak and not hear what the other person's saying. They want to take over the conversation. A lot of people like to hear themselves talk. A lot of people think
Mm,
they're right. Me, I'm the total opposite. I like to stay quiet a lot and listen to everything, and then I come in afterwards with my opinion or whatever. But a lot of times you have conversation bullies, male and female. They
mm,
just want to be heard. You know, they'll listen to you and actually not be listening to you because they just want to respond. So they're itching just to respond,
mm.
instead of just sitting back and listening to it and taking everything in you say.
So they're listening to respond. They're not listening to actually hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is Rain? I don't see her yet. Okay. Another form of a conversation bully could be someone that dominates the conversation, um, where, like you said, they're listening to respond. Well, another thing is they ain't listening at all. They're just literally straight running through the conversation. They're
Mhm.
running through. They have no intention on really trying to hear you, and that could be in the form of yelling. It could be in the form of crying or becoming emotional. There's different ways to control a conversation. Rain, when you think of when you think of the word conversation bully, what does that mean to you?
Now that I know better, so what that means to me is someone that's over talking, not really listening, actively listening to the point that someone where they heard a trigger word. So they took the trigger word and dove into that critical position instead of listening to the full sentence to get the present of what they were saying. Because there's a lot of things that you can say that can trigger a word. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they can attack. And then when the attack happens, that's when the argument is preserved. And then you have the other person just waiting to like say, nope, you heard one word and that was it. But yeah. So I think of just someone that wants to overtalk and they hear trigger words and they want to go with it. And sometimes it's also the saying, the know it all.
Mm. A know-it-all. Okay. All right. So let's look at this video right quick. The video is going to be our reference point, and then I'm going to have a couple of bullet points and some definitions that I looked up earlier. So let's check out the video. See what this thing is talking about here. You guys know about the timer, the 60-second timer. If you're talking for like 3 minutes and your plane isn't quite landing, I may throw the timer up. When you see the timer up, that means, oh, let me land my plane. All
And
right.
Dave, just wanted to let you know one of your friends before, Monrovia Dior.
Yeah.
She's definitely going to be looking forward to coming on. She said she's heading our way.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was reaching out to my Rovia earlier today. So you
Mm,
reached out
she,
to her as well?
yeah,
Look at
her and
that.
I are good friends.
Synchronicity. Look at that. All right, so let's look at this clip, y'all, and kind of set the tone.
Sis, is he really a poor communicator, or are you a conversation bully? I've said this before and I feel like it's worth saying again. So many times as women, we'll get these ideas in our head and we just gonna run with it. We're gonna take over the conversation, and then we'll give the illusion that we're gonna allow him to say something. And as soon as he says something we don't like, we jump back in and we take over the conversation again. So then when he shuts down, or when he stops talking to you, or when he starts talking to another woman because she makes him feel emotionally safe, she hears him, she allows him to say whatever it is he needs to say, then we want to get mad because he's not communicating with us, or we want to get mad because he's talking to another woman about us or about what's going on in our relationship. Like, you should be talking to me, sis. He tried to talk to you and you wouldn't let that man get a word in. So all I'm saying is, before you accuse him of being a poor communicator, take a look at how your conversations go, especially when you're mad, or especially when you're on a rampage. Do you even give that man the space to say whatever it is he needs to say without you making him feel like he can't?
Mm, okay. I have a reaction to that video. Did y'all notice something ironic? She was talking to women and saying, "Hey, you might be a conversation bully," but she was mad. She was coming hard. Like if I get in the mic and do like this, and it sounds like that feels like a bully, kind of, or at least an aggressive person.
Her body language, she was really passionate about it. Yeah.
But I'm not mad at her because this is something we got to talk about, right? Maybe some traits of a bully of a conversation bully could be that you're too aggressive or you're too passionate. Because I'm guilty of being passionate. I'm guilty of being a talker, and I'm guilty of being passionate about what I say. So I have to watch it. I've even learned in relationships. I've learned in communicating at my job, my day job. I've learned, all right, there's times when I can be expressive and passionate and talk with my hands and add bass in my voice and maybe even elevate my volume. There's times when I could do that, but then there's times when I gotta kind of use more of a civilized inside voice, because one of my homies at the job, he said people were like, well, he always yells at us when he's asking for information. And he was like, Dave, do I yell? I'm like, you kind of do. You got that New York thing going, you mad aggressive. If people aren't from New York or a city like Philly or Chicago, they may not know how to take that tone. They may think you're being aggressive, but you just talking how you talk. You're a passionate talker. So I've had to learn that too. So I noticed that she was aggressive in her tone when she's talking about bullies, and it sounded like she was kind of getting on ladies that maybe they aren't listening to their man. Dre, how did that clip affect you when you saw it?
Well, definitely. When I see somebody do this or do this and all that other stuff, I'm like, okay, so maybe she was projecting, how she was, or maybe she was even talking about herself. I don't know, but yeah, definitely. I mean, when it's especially when it comes to arguments, a lot of I have to say a lot of ladies get really emotional, and they speak with their feelings, So me, I'm so opposite of that. I'm on a logic scale, you know what I mean? So I'm like this, well, let's think about this logically, and I don't want to think about this logically, and you can't get a word in edgewise. But me, I usually back off and stay quiet until you finish saying what you said. Are you finished saying what you're saying? And I go on. Me, I just live my life by common sense, so.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't get a word in, and it's just like, all right, well, I don't need to talk to you then if you're going to keep doing that.
Right. Do you find that well, no, I won't ask that. I'll ask Rain first before I stir the pot. Rain, what did you get from that video?
Definitely. So for me, it's me being a female. She's just got off the phone talking to 2 or 3 friends that she's just over it. She's frustrated. She's done because, they're not hearing their man. They're not understanding. And also, like Dre said, like using the hands and, curving the eyes and rolling the eyes and all that stuff. A lot of women, they use a lot of their hands and they use motions when they're talking. So what I got from that was she actually was bullying the conversation to tell us about conversation bully.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was unaware of it,
Yeah. Okay, and so that brings us to this point. Maybe there are some cultural things going on here, right? Because I know as Black people, we can be animated. I know that you always see the memes of when Black people start running and nobody's saying nothing. What do? You just take off. You don't ask questions. You see the meme. You know what I'm saying? You see the memes of if we start laughing out loud and stomping and laughing, somebody else want to laugh too, and then they kind of join in. Everybody has a loud laugh. There are cultural things that we do as Black people and brown people, and some of it, especially Black Americans, right? Americanized Black folks. Some of it could be that we're passionate in how we communicate in all aspects, right? And maybe as a man, I'm not as animated with my hands like the lady was, or come into the screen like that. But as a man, maybe I lean in. Maybe I raise my eyebrows, maybe my voice. It could be anything. Maybe I chest up. You know what I'm saying? We do things.
Oh, I don't know. Well, one with the thing that was going on, like you said, when it's funny that they started making these memes, because I used to tell like my white friends or other friends
Mhm.
about how afraid that Black people actually are. They think we're the toughest people in the world. I said, Black people are scared to go in their own basements by themselves. Right? And I said, I used to come home. My mom used to be like, turn on every light in the house. And when you get down that basement, don't have that little string like this down in the middle of the basement. You turn that on, you like,
Yeah.
But also the running thing might be more of an inner city environmental thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because we're used to things happening in our inner cities that we shouldn't be used to. And
Yep.
so we automatically know if you see somebody my size, like I'm 255 pounds, if I take off running and I run by you, you're not
Yeah.
going to turn around and look. You're like, that
Right.
big is running. Let me start running too.
I'll
You
ask
know?
questions later. I'll ask
Right.
questions
And
when we
then
get
a
around the
lot of
corner.
and a lot of my white friends or others, I say, what are you going to do? And they say, I'm going to turn around and see what you're running from.
You know what's
Like,
funny?
why would you do that?
You know what's funny? When I used to watch horror movies, the
Mhm.
first person to die was the Black person.
Yeah, we
Right?
knew that wasn't true. Yeah.
I hated that in the 80s. It's like, okay, why the brother or the sister got to die first? And it was always where they get caught off guard. But the funny thing is, just from a cultural perspective, in those 80s horror movies, we wouldn't have no problems if white folks wasn't investigating. They always got, hey, there's a ghost. Let's check that out. Something strange is going on. And it's like, no, Black folks would have just been out. It wouldn't have been no movie. I don't need to check what's going on in the basement. I don't need to understand what's happening in the woods. I don't care about the lady in the lake. I'm gone. You know what I mean? So
It's kind of like what this comedian said one time. He said, you hear about some white people talking about, oh, that's peculiar. What's that sound? What's that cha-cha-cha sound, you know? And black people, you hear, you start stepping.
Yeah. He said, that's peculiar. Yeah. That was Eddie. Rain, you act like you ain't heard none of these comedies before, Rain. Don't leave us out here.
I'm thinking about everything you're saying because me being multiracial, like Spanish people, we use our hands a lot. So that's something that we commonly use. We use our hands to talk. So when we're talking, we use our hands a lot as well. And I can also say, like, you're absolutely right. Like, if I see Dre running, I may be in a point where, like, you said it's like you're environmental as well. So me coming from a place where, like, my friends were mostly like, I had more friends than I did, like, in the beginning of, Black female friends, African American friends, but I had more like white friends, but cheering, or Latina. So the same thing with Latins, like, if I see Dre running, I'm not asking any questions, and whoever's back there asking, like, well, what is he running from? We're already gone. We're running behind Dre.
We'll
We're
find out
out.
later.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. Like, they're right. Ask questions later. I get it. Like,
yeah. All right, so
Jason's
check this out, y'all.
Cut your head off, not mine. He's gonna cut you in
That's
half.
right.
Not me.
That's right. In fact, the only person that got away from Jason in the Friday the 13th series was the black dude Dudley from Different Strokes. Dudley got away. He the only one that physically got away from Jason. I don't think anybody else escaped.
Right.
All right.
I do want to say something though. Dre said something that definitely resonated. He was saying that he'll let someone finish and ask, are you done? Did you finish what you were saying before you talk? And I know that some women, that's a trigger for them. What do you mean, am I done? Did you get everything I said? All he's doing, and I've noticed that women, because I myself in the past, when you hear that, you think the person is being, you're just being cocky, or you have this attitude, or are you done? Because you want to hear everything they're saying. I process. I'm gonna table some of this. I'll parking lot this part, but there's times where they're like, why are you not speaking back? Because some women want a reaction instead of understanding that I'm giving you your chance to get it out. So when I speak, you can give me the same respect that I'm already allowing you. And so when Dre says, you're asking, are you done speaking? Is that everything? Because I don't want to be interrupted, just like I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me. Because when he gets to that trigger point and says, you said that I did not like you going out with your friends on Thursdays, and then that's the only thing that that woman hears.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't hear on Thursdays because Thursdays is a day that you and I agreed that we would start making that more of our time.
Right.
And
Right.
it's 3 weeks later, the woman has so much on her mind that she's forgetting. But men remember, I'll never forget this when I read this book before. Men remember details and they process silently. Women remember details out loud through billboards and they process loudly.
Hold on, Rain. I gotta solo you. Say that one more time. That quote.
Men remember details and they process it silently. Women remember details in billboards and they process it loudly.
Wow. That's
Makes sense.
actually deep. That's deep. Yeah, I had to process that one for a second. That's actually, I had to process it silently. That's actually a great point. Wow. Okay. Okay. I want to ask a question here. I want to show y'all this. We asked what's a bully or what's a conversation bully. Let me give you the definition of a conversation bully that I got from ChatGPT. A conversation bully refers to an individual who uses verbal manipulation, aggression, and coercion during a conversation. All right. So it's a person who uses verbal manipulation, aggression, and coercion during a conversation to dominate, intimidate, or belittle others. This behavior can involve shouting, interrupting, dismissing others' opinions, using sarcasm, belittling comments, and making personal attacks. The goal of a conversation bully is to assert control over the dialogue and suppress the contributions of others, often leaving the victim feeling uncomfortable, invalidated, and powerless. And if you notice the graphic, the lady just has words and letters pouring out like a megaphone. That's kind of deep, y'all. That's a really deep definition, but it says, they're into verbal manipulation, aggression, and coercion, and that their goal is to control the conversation and assert control over the dialogue and suppress the contributions of others. So when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, man, this could happen at work. This could happen in personal relationship. It could happen on a podcast. It can happen anywhere where there's a conversation between one or more people. And like Dre, when you said that, or maybe it was Rain, but a young lady might cry or something, right? If a man raises his voice, or if he says, "Hey, are you done yet? I just want to make sure you're done." They may take it like, "Oh, well, are you trying to say I'm loud? You trying to say I talk too much? You're trying to say." There is ways that people can manipulate conversations passive aggressively. It doesn't have to be loud and in your face like we had the one lady pointing and talking aggressive. It could be, I'm crying every time it doesn't go the way I want it to, or I'm claiming to be victimized somehow. You're not letting me speak. So can somebody speak to that? I don't know, Rain or Dre. I've seen it. I don't want to dominate the guy. I don't want to be a conversation bully. So I'll try to
Dre,
back
you want
off.
to go first, Dre? Dre, you want to go?
Now she don't want to be the conversation bully.
Okay. Honestly, when that happens, I can be kind of I don't want to curse any. Well, it's after dark, right? So
It's after dark, Dre. Go ahead.
Well, I can be kind of a dick. You know what I'm saying? If I ask, are you done? Are you finished saying what you're saying, so I can say what I want to say without interruption? And if it triggers a person and they say stuff like, "What, you think I talk too much?" I might say yes. But the thing is, I'm not going to be like this. Yes, I'll just be like, yeah, and I usually stay calm during the conversation. I don't like to argue. I don't like to shout. I like to debate, though. I do,
Okay.
but I don't like argument. I don't like conflict.
Dre, did you learn to not like conflict because you were a bigger, more muscular guy? because
Well,
I've seen some of the shortest people, and even short men and women
mhm,
that just, especially ladies, it's like a bobcat, you know,
mhm.
or so they just and you're just like, yo, hold on, calm down. Ain't nobody coming at you like that. Why are you coming at me? But I found that me being taller, I've learned, okay, I gotta back off, because if I come in like this, I look like I'm trying to intimidate. So I've learned to
Well,
just kind of be like, okay, all right.
it's a couple of things. Like one, I've learned to, let's say, how Bruce Lee said, be like the nature of water. One, you know what I'm saying? When you come at something hard, something's coming at you hard, you come back at them hard, it's just going to be a crash and explosion. But water can penetrate rock. Water is relaxing, you know, and it can crash. But the thing is, I try to stay calm all the time and disarm you that way. Or if the conversation and you just coming at me, I'll check out altogether and be like, well, this is going nowhere, so I'm done. And they're like, no, you can't be done. You can't be done. If you're going to let me talk, you're going to let me talk. If you're not, then I'm done. There's no reason for us to keep having this conversation. You know, also with me being bigger and also being in I wasn't always this size. Like when I was
Okay.
growing up, I was in the martial arts. I started in martial arts when I was 7. Got my
Okay.
first black at 14. You know, so it got to the point where it was just like, why do I want to engage with you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I know who I am, I know what I can do, you know. So I don't even engage with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that it's not just the size too. You know, it does. You know, just like you
Mhm.
said, it absolutely does. All of it takes place. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
why? You know, I have to also watch it too because
Mm.
I don't want to be that one to intimidate someone. That's why I am calm like I am.
There you go. Yeah.
But in certain cases, you have to use certain tactics. Some people you can be calm with, and some people you have to take it up there because you know that's the only way you'll get through to them. And you know,
Mm.
it's not I'm feeling emotional, it's just a tactic, you know.
Mm. Rain,
Mhm.
what's another way that going back to the words that we read here, I'll put it a little bit bigger on the screen. We saw here that conversation bully, um, they use verbal manipulation, aggression, and coercion. We also said that they could use passive aggressiveness, like becoming emotional, stonewalling, crying. All right, and the goal was to assert control over the dialogue.
Mhm.
Some people might say over the narrative in today's world. Control the narrative, right? You hear that a lot about social media and
Mhm.
public relations. They want to suppress the contributions of others and leave them feeling uncomfortable, invalidated, and powerless. What are some other ways that people can be conversation bullies?
We're in sync tonight. You're going right where a lot of people are about to be shocked, and I hope we get a lot of comments for this. Please
Hmm.
comment, because 3 things. Dre, you made some great points, and I'm going to go back to those too, because the gentle giants, taller men, know that their body already gives a physique of understanding. You know, that I am, people get the perception that they're just, going to be like this. And then also, like you said, you have the shorter people, right? And they feel like they come off as like bobcats. But I wanted to tell you something. Have we ever thought about when you're buying a house and you're doing negotiations? They want you to understand that, Dave, this 6,000 square feet home that you're buying that you think is
Hmm.
going to cost you more because of this, and you're going to have to put this much acres, and they become the conversation bully.
Mm.
When you're in when you're in a courtroom, the
Mm.
paralegal, the attorney, they become the conversation bully. The state attorney, they want you to hear their side of what's happening, their narrative. So whatever's been told by counsel, what they're doing now is they're turning it into a whole different conversation, and the narrative becomes a different outcome
Hmm.
because they want to hear their side of it. So
Hmm.
they depose to compose a new composition of what they heard. So, psychologically speaking, you're being like transitioned into two different conversations. And that's what happens when women and men are having a conversation, just like, Dre was saying, are you done yet?
Mm.
And then when that person says they're done, they're giving you the floor, but you don't really want to take the floor. You're upset, and you're just upset because that person's not upset with you. They're not going to join your party.
I'm tracking. So I heard a few things here. Number one, I heard that the courtroom can involve conversation bullying. I also picked up on how bullying conversation is like changing the narrative, breaking down what has been said, and then building back up what you want to be heard. I'll give you a perfect example of a conversation bully, and I don't have. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with this hat. I'm gonna give y'all. This is a perfect example. Do y'all remember when somebody did this in the courtroom? It was like this, and they were like, "If it don't fit, you must."
He must have quit.
Yo, Johnny Cochran cocked that dang on Scully on the corner of his head, and then he was trying to, and OJ was doing this, and Johnny Cochran was like, "If it don't fit, you must have quit." Johnny Cochran basically said, "Hey, look at me. I'm going to pull on a skull cap. I'm Johnny Cochran. I'm an amazing defense attorney. I'm going to put on a skull cap. Am I a thug? Am I a criminal? Could I be the person that committed this murder?" So he did. That was a visual. I'm going to change the narrative. And then with OJ trying it on, and you can clearly see that his hands are much bigger than the glove, and it's not working. For the prosecution to allow that move, they damn their own case. Because don't put a prop in my hand and say, if it don't fit, they might have quit. I'm gonna make sure it don't fit. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna be like, no matter what you do,
no matter what, I'm be like, I can't get it on.
I don't care. And I'm a football player, and I'm built like Dre. Sheesh, I'm about to. That ain't nothing gonna work. So defense attorney, prosecution, their goal is to bully, if you will, the conversation and convince the jury, right, of the plausibility or the plausible deniability of someone's case and circumstances. Man, and we're talking about cases that are not slam dunk cases. We're talking about cases where it's not clear that something happened. You got to argue. All right, I want to look at these bullets. Check this out, y'all. Here's a couple of different ways to handle a conversation bully. In fact, here are 5 ways that you can handle a conversation bully. The first way, how to prevent conversation bullying. Number 1, stay calm and composed. That sounds like Dre. Maintain a steady tone and demeanor to avoid escalating the situation. Refuse to match their aggression, as this can fuel their behavior. Let's speak on that for a moment. Does keeping calm really help, or no? It depends on the person you're the bully kind of bully you're dealing with.
I think actually for me, yes, because if I have someone that's calm, and as the louder you're getting and I get quieter and quieter, I'm only seeing your character come out, and it's actually you're answering questions for me by what you're doing. So yes, it helps you. And it also helps to keep it even keel. That's what police officers mostly do. Not only that, that's what therapists do. That's what teachers do with children when they're having. Now, Dave, you know that you were acting out today. And no, I wasn't. I was in. Dave, okay. And then at
Why
that
his name
point,
got to be Dave? Let's call him Johnny. And Dave ain't acting out.
Okay. Okay. Dre?
I love the show because
you can definitely use me.
We always use hypotheticals on this show. Go. Please continue. Dre's not hollering. Dre's biting. He's in kindergarten. He's running around biting people.
And I was also gonna say that I love this because I'm actually learning so much more tonight about conversation bullying, because I'm like, wow, even when you're doing conversation bullying, it can also, like, when you're like, the words sometimes people are speaking, they don't realize what they're doing because there's so much they're masking, and it's not you ever had a conversation with someone and they're like, you know what? Everything I said, they apologize to you the next day after they've heard themselves.
Yeah.
And having someone like Dre who says, are you done yet? And they speak. And it's like you want to hear how they actually, the outcome of that conversation goes. Because a lot of times that's what's happening. And they're really not mad about what you're saying. They're mad about something that happened 2 weeks ago that was never resolved.
Rain, you said that you have been guilty of conversation bullying. We all have. Back when you were trying to dominate a conversation, just think back in the past, you were trying to bully a conversation, dominate it. If a person responded by being calm and composed, let's say it's a man, let's say it's a love interest, so there's some feelings there. And you're clearly upset, and y'all are gonna have this conversation. And the guy is just like, no, okay, sure, no, yes, yes, of course. And he's calm and he's giving normal 1 or 2 word answers, and you're incensed. How does that make you feel in one of those situations?
As Dre said, this is an after dark show. We are grown. I am a grown adult, and I have an ID to prove it. No, I'm just joking. So, me knowing my partner, and in that situation, and he says, Dre's like, are you done talking? And I want to get my point across still, and I'm still upset. I'm going to make out first. I'm going to give them something very nice because I'm it's all of my traits. I'm infused. I'm going to give them a little nice something because I want to get my point across. So I was a manipulator at giving them what they needed and wanted and coming back to the communication and saying, now listen, now that we're done, because you made them happy. So now they're just going to give you what you want to hear.
I was looking for my magic wand sound. So you're like, I'm going to give them something nice. I accidentally hit the crickets. Then I said, no. I meant this.
No, the nice was what you were thinking. Yeah, like, when you're in a relationship, you're entitled to the pieces of that person. And definitely,
look,
you want to.
Kids are not watching the show. Well, I always tell them this is not made for kids. So you're going to give them something nice. What was you going to give them, Rain?
My specialties.
Keep it there. That's all right. Just don't say no more.
I do want to know.
I would give him.
Wait. Okay. I'm not a part. Hey, go ahead. No, don't get quiet now.
You didn't know what happened.
No, I'm saying whatever you said you wanted to do. I'm out of this.
Y'all. No, I would basically, it would just be, the infamous Ocean's Rain, Filipina Brazilian, nice. Welcome to my massage therapy center. There we go.
Okay.
And it's like it's an infamous. That's all I can say. It's
that was a classic way to put it. That was a classic way to put it. I love it. We're gonna keep it classy. That was perfect.
That's right.
But okay, but so you give him something he can feel, and then you're like, okay, now let's talk about what was wrong because he was kind of quiet earlier. Is that manipulating the conversation?
Yes, I was being a manipulator, and I was trying to get my way. And I was going about it, circling around and not really dealing with the actual conversation because then it would come up later. And then that was bullying the situation. And then because that person now is still quiet, Dre's still listening to me. But now he's like, oof, okay, what would you say, babe? Yeah,
right. And now you're able to dominate.
Now, you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of manipulating going on. And I definitely...
That's like getting somebody to sign a life insurance contract right after you have sex with them and they bust a nut. It's like trying to get them to negotiate and sign important papers right after they've been pleasured. They ain't in their right mind.
I have to say this is funny.
Especially a man, our blood has been drained down to the wrong head. We ain't thinking. We ain't.
my future, my my future person, that's all I'm gonna say. We had a situation, it's so funny and I can say it, and he goes, damn, you almost had me married overnight.
Right. 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 Okay. So Dre, since you are a person that has stayed calm, one of the ways to deal with or prevent conversation bullying is to stay calm, have a steady tone and demeanor, which you mentioned earlier, to avoid escalating the situation. Does that help? Does that actually help, Dre, or does it? This is going to depend on the person you're arguing with.
It 100% depends on the person.
Okay.
100% depends on the person. I mean, in most cases, yes, it does help. But there are some people who are just trying to go there no matter what you say. You know, that's why I said you have to use certain tactics. And being in the executive protection world, you can kind of figure who's actually just trying to do something to get to you, no matter what you do. Like a lot of times what I do is I apologize to the person, even if I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Look,
Yeah.
I apologize. If I offended you in some type of way, I apologize. That usually cuts it down right there. That usually have them like, well, okay, I apologize too, bro. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, some people just don't want to calm down for what they want something to happen.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you have to meet them at that, because now they're like, whoa. It's just like if you look at lions, right? You have this other lion coming in trying to show his dominance. Now this lion has to assert his dominance. You know what I'm saying? So he has to come at him harder to make him like, okay, I'm backing down now. This is the same thing with humans, especially men, you know, but it's the same thing, you know. So it could go either way. Most of the time I will try to stay calm. The calm thing works a lot because it's like this. I used to have this tattoo on my chest of a tiger laying in a bed of flowers, just chilling. And everyone would always say, well, why would you do that? Why don't you get a ferocious tiger? He just laying in a bed of flowers. I went like this. I said, does a tiger have to be ferocious for you to know that it will kill you and eat you? So it can stay calm, but you know that calmness can come, the storm can come from that calmness. Because think about it, when a tiger is sitting there eating his prey, his tail is wagging. You know, he's calm.
You know, Drake, I'm sorry. Dre said something earlier, and Dre said something earlier as well. So he knows how to attack the conversation going in. And when a person knows how to attack a conversation, because he said, you know, I could be a dick if I wanted to, but I choose not to go that route. I'm going to apologize as well. So when you're able to understand and overcome the conversation bullying, or you see it coming, these are definitely ways to be helpful, and this is helpful as well. But also identifying a conversation bully, like you said, no matter what you say, he can apologize. He can come back quiet. He can just let it go and say, you know what? You're right. I do apologize. Even if he knows the person's absolutely wrong, but I just love that, you have that. Like you said, you both are tall men. And like, I mean, being with different sized men, they definitely know help me out, guys. I don't know the word.
Stature, power.
Yes.
Presence.
Yeah, so, and then that's also the thing, like, even with women, like with a lot of us, there's certain things that we know that we have, like different powers, not powers, but different things that we have that can be manipulative. And I believe that, like, having a conversation and understanding, and I love that now. So I can respect so much, and I want to say, Dre, I respect that so much when someone says, "Are you done with your conversation?" Because I've learned over years that let someone finish their conversation, and then you hear them out, process. And I've stopped being a conversation bully. So in my rehab days, so I will never go back to that again, because definitely it doesn't help anything.
Well, the thing is, you have to realize, like, the reason I asked, "Are you done?" is simply because a person will say, like, if they pause or they stop talking and then you say something, they say, "I wasn't finished." So the reason I asked if you're done, like, "Are you done?" and would you like me to respond to that? I even
Mhm.
asked if they would like me to respond to it, because now it's like this. Okay, yes. Okay, now you gave me the ball, so if you cut me off now, that you're in the wrong, but a lot of people will still cut you off anyway, and I'll be up there like this. Okay, go ahead and finish. You, since I can't say whatever it is, you gave me the floor, but now you want to take it back. Go ahead, please.
I've been accused at times of in a conversation, I guess. Okay, let me back up. Another form of dominating conversation is when you're the smartest person or think you're the smartest person. So you use big words or you talk over where someone may be, their level. If you know you're talking to someone that's college educated like yourself, then you may speak a certain way. If you know you're talking to someone that didn't get a high school diploma, um, and you're more educated, you may speak a certain way if you want to dominate. That could also be a way of bullying the conversation, right? Because
Oh
you're
yeah.
using language or words that the person can't understand. Um, I think about when Dre says, "Are you done?" Because would you like for me to respond? Some person could say, "Okay, he's being gracious." Another person could say, "He's demeaning." Who do you think you are? You talking down to me? You think you're better than me, Dre? Right? I remember one time I was in a conversation and I raised my hand. I went like this. Can I? And they don't do that. You got to raise your hand at me. Just say what you have to say. I'm listening. I'm intelligent. And I was like, well, I didn't mean it like that. I was just literally not trying to interrupt. No, you're being condescending, David. And I was like, damn, I have to watch that because I know when I'm talking to that individual, don't do that. That's a trigger because they're like, hey, we both college educated. Just go. Just say what you got to say. I'm not gonna get offended. Just let's jump in. Right now, um, I do think the being polite and allowing a person to finish is important, and especially Dre when you're trying to not argue and you're like, I just want to make sure that I heard you. Let me repeat what you said. That's another way. Okay. And then do you mind if I respond to what you just said? And then, a lot of times people will get it. It just depends on who you're speaking to, is what I'm saying.
Always.
Yeah.
100%. It always depends on who you're speaking to. As far as the big words and people trying to something that doesn't really work with me either. I mean, if someone does come with words I don't understand, I'll be like, well, I don't understand what that word is. I'll tell them straight up. I don't understand what that means. Could you explain that? And then I'll have them sit there and explain it, and they don't actually really want to explain it. I'll be like this. Oh, I get it. And then I'll be like, then I'll go on it. Now you explained it to me. Now I can go on it if I have to. If I can tear you down, I'll tear you down. And
Understood.
that was one of my specialities, especially doing this security stuff. It's like I figure out what you're saying, how you're trying to say it. If you're trying to be a certain way, I will dissect it and then turn it back on you. And I'm always calm at the whole time, just like in fighting, the people who say, look, motherfucker, I'll kill you. They don't scare me. Those people I easily break down. Now the person is sitting there like this, like, I'll kill you.
Mhm.
Those are the people who are scared the hell out of me.
Right. They
Mhm.
say it with a slight grin. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, hold
and
on
they're
now.
really calm. My thing is
Yeah.
always me. I'm a control freak. What I mean by that, I like to be in control of myself. You know what I mean? I don't mind if you're all over the place. I like to be in control of myself. So I pay attention to everything you say, and I even teach people how to have conversations, because a lot of times I say what you do is when you want to assert your dominance. In all honesty, you kind of sit back, listen, let
Hmm.
everyone say what they're saying, and then you'll come back up. And I guarantee you, everyone there will remember what you said.
I agree. I agree with you. And you're definitely right about dissecting conversation because when being a director of a university, listening to students and their excuses sometimes,
Mm.
and having to dissect how we got here, but actually hearing the critical conversation of, hey, I'm helping out. my family, or this is what's going on, like critical conversations. So dissecting, like you said, when someone says, I'll kill you, MFer, that person is really just probably there's something else going on. But like you said, if I'm sitting here and I'm going like this, Dre, the other night we had that conversation. I liked it. Thank you for like letting me talk and you just being quiet. So I thought about it for the past 5 days. So I went to your house the other night and I made sure everything was done. And I'm just going to let you just sit for a while and do what you're doing. And you know what? I'll come back and see you in a couple of days. And I made a key. He's right. That person, I'm freaking freaked out about. That's the restraining order. The person who's coming and attacking.
Because I'm like, what the hell you do to my house the last 5 days? What you been up to?
Right.
Dave, think about it like this, Dave. The Dark Knight. I remember with Heath Ledger to play the Joker. Right?
I was an extra in that movie.
Everyone kept saying, "You're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy," and then he just stopped and said, "No, I'm not. Freaking crazy. Yeah, you're crazy." When he just said, "No, I'm not," he was super calm, and now everybody's looking at him like, "Oh my God, what is this guy going to do?"
Now, mind you, this is coming from a man in a clown outfit with green hair, with lipstick painted on his face like a smile, and they're like, "You're crazy," and he's like, "No, I'm not," and he repeated himself, "No, I'm not." That's unnerving because he's clearly off and he's too damn calm. Yeah. So if you're not crazy, you really own something. Walking in here looking like a clown, you're dangerous.
With a bunch of gangsters.
Right? You're dangerous. Something is wrong with this man. Okay, yeah, interesting. Let's look at the next point. And Rain, I'm gonna ask you to mute because I'm getting the feedback again.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's my system, Rain. I'm gonna turn down the gain. I'm gonna turn down the gain on Rain. Someone to edit your mic settings and just turn down the gain a little bit. All right, let's look at the next slide. The next bullet point: how to prevent conversation bullying. 2, set boundaries. Set boundaries. Politely but firmly call out their behavior by saying things like, "I would appreciate it if you would let me finish speaking," or "Please avoid personal comments." Okay. Now, somebody did this in the political campaign in politics, Dre. You remember when Kamala was like, "I'm speaking. I'm not done. I'm speaking." Now she kind of said it in a persnickety way, right? But I gotta admit, as a woman in politics, as a woman in power, it's probably difficult to deal with a bunch of men. Men dominate. The patriarchy is real. So another thing I like when she was like, "And this person," she wanted to say, "And this mother effer." That's what she wanted to say. But she said, "And this," and she kept.
She actually almost slipped one time.
Almost did. Yeah, she. It was funny because I was like, "Wow, Kamala's really ticked." And she's like, "And this person," but to show restraint and to set boundaries by saying, "Hey, I would appreciate if you let me finish," or "I'm speaking," or "It's my turn." Like, you got to say it in a way that's calm. You can't be irrational. You can't be yelling. But I do think setting boundaries and somewhat taking control back in the conversation is an intelligent way to not let them bully the conversation. Rain, I see you. I see you. Go ahead, Rain. Then unmute.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I mean, totally. Like, this is a great conversation, honestly. And I think obviously sometimes less is best, with this type of conversation, because you have a lot of conversation bullying going on, right? So what I was going to say is that I was here thinking that, wow, as far as when you're having a conversation and
Rain,
when
can you
you're
start that
making
response?
boundaries, you're setting boundaries. Can you hear me?
Rain, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Rain, I'm sorry. I was adjusting the gain on your microphone and it went out. So I was asking you to start over and repeat your answer.
Oh, I can start over. Yeah. So for boundaries, for conversation, for boundaries. So for conversation for boundaries, sometimes, it's best like, say, you know what, babe? Okay, Dre, we had a conversation last night. And Dre may say, hey, you know what, Rain? Let's not, after a certain time, I notice that, it's time for me to wind down. I'm not going to be able to download and understand a lot of your conversation at 10 o'clock at night. If there's anything that we need to discuss, and unless it's urgent, let's wait until earlier in the daytime. Maybe having nighttime conversations before we go to sleep. Set boundaries on when, what, because at night, like all this rah-rah, it shouldn't be going on in relationships and conversations, or if you're dating. So it's one of those things where boundaries definitely have to be set. In addition to that, there's a lot of times where if there's something that is not working in a relationship, and I know that parking lot, make a list of things that you parking lot for the week, and maybe Sunday or Saturday is your day that you and your wife or you and your girlfriend, you parking lot some things that you heard, like, you know what, baby, you said something, and I really should probably address that with you, and put a question mark next to it. And you guys have all these things, and then you take it down, and after that parking lot, now it's time to go ahead and actually make it land somewhere.
And I had to make sure I didn't overtalk you. Um, I agree with that. Putting things in the parking lot is a way of setting a boundary so that you guys aren't rehashing things. I am definitely a night owl, you guys, and I'm a talker. And I went through some things in a prior relationship where it was like, David, you want to talk and you don't want to go to bed unless we have resolved it. You don't want to go to bed angry. This is a prior marriage, right? And I was like, yeah, that's what I believe. But my ex was not a night person; they were a morning person. So 9 o'clock, their metabolism, their brain, they have shut everything down. It's 9 o'clock, I'm just getting started. 9 o'clock, I'm ready to do my podcast. I'm ready to go to my acting book and practice lines. I'm ready to do some film editing. I'm up. I'm ready to try to write a song. I'm 9 o'clock at night is like 9 o'clock in the morning for me sometimes. Didn't work with my ex. And I had to learn, Rain, this conversation will go nowhere if I try to have a deep, get an understanding at 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night when this person is tired as hell. It's just not going to work. And likewise in a other previous relationship with a girlfriend, I remember she really wanted to talk about something. We were on and off, y'all. And she was like, you need to come over and we need to have a conversation. I said, it's 3 a.m. And I just left a bar. I don't want to talk about this. I'll come over, but I'm going to bed. Please. Oh, okay, David, just come. It's all right. Let me go to bed. Okay, David. As soon as I hit the damn door and I tried to sit down, I just find it funny that, and now I remember what my ex used to say to me, like, it's too late for this. And I was like, damn, I get it now. I'm tired. I don't have the energy. I've actually had some drinks. I really need some sleep. I just drove 30 minutes to get to your crib, and now you want to have a deep conversation when I'm in no position to negotiate. That conversation didn't go well. and I've learned that boundaries have to be set. Dre, I can here's what I'm trying to I can see Dre being calm and quiet like he is now, and then coming in with some deep, impactful thoughts. And I'm not gonna say your fiance, but I'll just say I could see a woman that's rah-rah being like, you remember how Jada Pinkett was in Low Down Dirty Shame when she was real rah-rah Shame?
Yeah.
I can see somebody that's real rah-rah just getting pissed off at the fact that you're calm. Like just more, the more calm you are, the more they're pissed. I could see that. Because I've been through that.
The ironic thing is I was really attracted to that character.
Oh yeah, Jada's character in Shame.
Yeah, the whole thing, the whole attitude, all of that. I was up there like, ooh. and then she's tiny on top of that. Well, you've met my fiance. She's really small woman. I like petite women. Actually, that's not necessarily true. I don't really care. It just so happens I've always ended up with petite women, But I pretty much try to stay calm all the time, but sometimes it, like I said, it depends on who you're talking to.
Right.
My fiance, she's a little bit more hype than I am.
Okay.
But the good
but
thing
she's not Jada Pinkett. She's not Jada Pinkett. Rah rah.
No.
Okay.
I was attracted to that when I was a lot younger.
Oh, okay. And look, I wasn't trying to put that. I met your fiance. I wasn't. I was like, no, I don't think she's like that.
I talk about my fiance all day.
Okay. Okay.
But, you met her. You know who she is.
She's super cool. She chill.
Yeah. She's real chill.
Can we say her name? Are we saying names?
Yeah, we can say her name. Her name is Cache.
Cache is chill. Cache is super chill. Right. Every time I met her, she's gracious. She's chill. You're working. She's like, "Hey, Dave, you mind if I sit down, smoke hookah with you while Dre working?" I'm like, "Come on, chat, catch up." I know you're working. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, the thing about her is that we hardly ever argue. Now, in the beginning of our relationship, this was a problem for her.
That's what I was gonna say, Dre.
Why would we ever argue? What is the problem? Aren't we supposed? Other people argue in their relationship. This can't be going this well. And she would try to start an argument with it, and I would calm her down. I was up there like this. Do you want to argue? There's something that you don't like? She said, no. Then why do we need to argue? She's like, yeah, you're right. But I always see my aunts, they argue, my mom, they argue, she argues with her man, I said, well, I'm not with them, I'm with you. There's a reason I'm with you, and she knows 100% that I will protect her with everything in me. And off note a little bit, it's funny, we were talking about the size and our stature and our presence. When we first met, we first started dating. We were walking down the street, and she loves telling this story, and she keeps reminding me of it, and I keep forgetting about it. We're walking down the street. It was like these 6 brothers. They were standing right on the sidewalk, right? So she's on the inside, and she goes to cut out to try to go into the street and walk around them. And I grab her, and I pull her back, and then I just kind of move them all aside. Right? And then we walk by, and she's just like, and she's up there like this. I was like, what's the matter? She's like, you moved all those dudes aside. I was up there like this. Okay, and she's like, you just she's like, they niggas, and you just moved them all aside, right? I was up there like, she said, what if they did something? I was like, and I said, my exact words was, and I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, what the fuck are they gonna do to me?
Boom.
So you have it. So what you said about the size and stuff like that, we know it too, and unconsciously we might use it to our advantage. You know what I'm saying? But also you get when you get into arguments and things like that, or someone tries to bully you, you get a lot of respect, even from the hood guys, because they see your size. Yeah, OG, what's up, man? What's up, bro? It's you. So like when the conversation sometimes is going left, and it's like sometimes I said you have to assert your dominance. A lot of people will back down because they're like, oh, well, I know all big guys can't fight, but I don't want to sit around and find out if he can.
I don't want to find out.
And
the fact that he's super calm and chill, and I've never really seen him get out of pocket or lose his emotions. That even tells me even more. That's not a guy I want to F with. Like this brother. I know people that practice martial arts, and they're always like chill. They not worried about nothing. Funnest people. They like to laugh. Everything's super chill. But please don't get into a hand-to-hand combat with them guys.
Yeah, you can always tell the pretenders who say they're martial artists, but they're always yakking. And then you see the guy sitting there real calm, and he's a martial artist or mixed martial artist, whatever you want to call it. He is, and he's just sitting there calm, just like,
Yeah.
I think it was a little, somebody caught a guy at a ball game, and it was a brother just in his face arguing, talking about you don't want none of this. And the brother, he was a Latin guy. And the black guy didn't know this guy was a professional boxer. And the professional boxer, he just kept smiling like, and he just walked out. He was real calm. I'm like, you need to leave these guys alone. It's a reason why they're calm.
Yeah. I'm looking for a video. I can't quite find it, so I'm gonna go to you, Rain. Boundaries. Let's go to the next. Oh, Rain had to step away. All right, let's go to the next bullet point, and she'll catch up. All right, the next bullet point is how to prevent conversation bullying. Redirect the conversation. Steer the discussion back to the topic at hand, emphasizing collaboration and mutual respect to neutralize their attempts at control. Steer the conversation back to the topic at hand. I hear this a lot, Dre, in the podcast world. A lot of men can be critical of ladies and can be like, stick with the problem. Let's solve the problem. The problem today is you're mad because I adjusted the thermostat or what have you. Not you always leave your socks on the ground. We ain't talking about socks. We're talking about the thermostat. Let's stick with the problem. The problem is the thermostat, right? Do you think that some people redirect as a way to deflect accountability? Or do you think that they're just meandering or whatever? But I mean, like, keeping the conversation on the topic at hand, I think, is a good way to prevent them from just bullying and just rambling. Is that something that you've seen done or that you've done yourself?
Well,
is to bring it back?
I've seen it done. I mean, a lot of times when a person is having a conversation and they may say something and they get their facts wrong, and the other person has the facts, they don't want to admit that, oh, okay, I may have been wrong about that. So they'll try to direct the conversation another way and take control of it. And you can say, let's stick to the topic at hand. Let's finish talking what we were talking about. I find that because me, I love talking politics with people, and I love people disagree with me. I enjoy it, right? I think a good, healthy debate is always great. I love it. So me and my buddy, we go back and forth all the time. But when I come to him with facts, he will never just say, "Oh, okay, I understand." He'll go somewhere else all the time, And it's like, let's get back to the topic that we were talking about. Don't go on this or bring this up from that date or this. We're talking about this specific topic, So yeah.
Dre, I found what I was looking for.
Okay.
Here is, how you said, Cache was like, we should be arguing. Like, why aren't we arguing? Other couples argue, right? But you was real cool. Like, no, I don't need to be like that. Look, this right here was funny to me. This is an example of a woman that misses arguing. She wants conflict, and she's kind of like wondering, why aren't we arguing?
Mommy, you good?
Yeah.
Oh. Baby, what's wrong?
Nothing.
I know. It's been like 8 months since we had a fight.
I know.
A fight?
Yeah.
6218.
Te hijo de la gran puta.
I mean, that's kind of a joke, but she clearly was like, look, I like fighting. Nothing's wrong, but I want to fight, and we haven't fought in a while. I think someone that likes to argue, that could be a way to kind of bully and control the narrative. Some people start and cause problems because it's fun. It's fun to them. It gets the juices going for them to go back and forth. I mean, it may sound crazy, but I've definitely known some people stir the pot on purpose.
Oh yeah, I come across ladies that felt like, oh well, you don't love me because we're not arguing, or or you just don't care, It's like, what do you mean I don't care? It's like, because you're not arguing, you don't get upset with me. A lot of people feel like their partner does not care about them or show interest in them because they're not arguing with them. You're like, you just let me do this. Okay, yeah, I'm secure with who I am in our relationship, so I'm not worried about that. And they're like, oh, well, other men would care. Well, I understand that, but I'm not other men. You know,
Right.
so I mean, you have to, like with me, I let people know right from the gate who I am, how I am. You know, a lot of things don't bother me. You know, so just like even with the other one where it says where personal attacks, that don't even bother me. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were talking about politics on your show, and there was a lot of people coming in personal attacks, talking about my daughter, stuff like that. That doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing is, well, my philosophy is you can say whatever you want. You can curse me, my daughter, my son, my mom, my dad. I don't care. But the moment you put your hands on me, yeah,
Ooh-wee.
then it's a
Right.
different story.
Don't start that.
You know, so I
Don't play that
mean,
game.
people back and forth. Because I grew up, you know, how you be playing a cracking game when you cracking
Oh
on your
yeah.
boy, you going back and forth and boom, boom, boom. I grew up on that, and you had to have a pretty thick skin to do it. And if you got upset, the whole neighborhood looking at you like, "Oh, you bitch," you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
got to know how to deal with it, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
All right, let's look at the next bullet point. I think Rain's going to come back in a moment. Well, hold on, let me see. Oh, her phone overheated. Okay,
Mm,
so I guess she'll be back when she can. All right, next
okay.
bullet point. We won't beleaguer the points. All right, let's get to the next point. Next bullet point on how to deal with conversation bullying. 4, avoid engaging emotionally. Do not take their comments personally or retaliate with similar aggression. Focus on the content of the conversation rather than their tone or their tactics. This is big because
Well, we kind of just talked about that a little bit.
we kind of did,
Mhm,
but in the context of man and woman, male and female, I do know that some people have a hard time, Dre, keeping their emotions out of the conversation. Some
mhm.
women and some men have a tough time
Yeah.
not getting emotional. Man, let's talk about it. The whole election with Trump and Kamala. Every
Mhm,
conversation I had with people, sometimes it was hard for them to control their emotions or hard for me to control mine, especially when my candidate lost. I was like,
mhm,
I was hurt for a minute. I was like, damn,
mhm.
you know what I mean? And I interpreted the results and the statistics of who voted and who didn't and how they voted. I took it personal. I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
y'all don't like black women. That's what you're telling us." And some people
Really?
like, yeah, they were like, "Dave, man, it might not be that. It could just be that maybe she didn't present her argument well." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know, man. When I look at them numbers, it feels racist to me." And they were, you know what I mean? I I
Mhm,
was
mhm.
I was incensed for various reasons. Now, of course, 5, 6, 8 weeks later, I get it. The country voted the way it voted. It is what it is. Let's move forward, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and and if and if you're a candidate and you don't address the things that the people need to hear, I'm talking about the majority of America, not just one segment. But
mhm.
you gotta have a campaign that everyone can get behind. And if you don't get behind it, then they're gonna go with the person that they feel they can get behind, and addresses their issues.
Well, emotions when it comes in the conversation is one thing I try to tell people about a lot of things. Leave your emotions at home. You know, I hate the fact that this is this. I mean,
Uh oh. Hold
what
on.
is it called? Okay.
Somebody popped in. Sorry. I heard
Mhm.
a do.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Parrish?
Hey, Paris, how are you?
I'm late. Blessings,
Uh,
brother.
Mhm.
you're not late. You're right on time, Parrish, because Rain's phone overheated, and then here you are. You're here. You jump right in.
Yeah.
Do you know what the topic is tonight, Parrish?
What'd you say?
Oh, do you know what the topic is tonight?
Please forgive me, Dave. I didn't. I joined sooner than what I was trying to. I was trying to catch up on everything. I apologize for being so late.
No problem. Dre, put a pin in your answer right quick because I want Parrish to catch up.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is the name of this episode is Conversation Bully. Conversation Bully. And I'm going to my screen. There it is. All right, Conversation Bully. Is the person that you're speaking with, um, are they a poor communicator, Parrish, or is it a possibility that you are a conversation bully? Listen to this clip, and I'm not saying you, Parrish, but listen
I
to this
just.
clip, and let's get an idea on what this young lady was talking about.
Sis, Is he really a poor communicator, or are you a conversation bully? I've said this before and I feel like it's worth saying again. So many times as women, we'll get these ideas in our head and we just gonna run with it. We're gonna take over the conversation, and then we'll give the illusion that we're gonna allow him to say something. And as soon as he says something we don't like, we jump back in and we take over the conversation again. So then when he shuts down, or when he stops talking to you, or when he starts talking to another woman because she makes him feel emotionally safe, she hears him, she allows him to say whatever it is he needs to say, then we want to get mad because he's not communicating with us, or we want to get mad because he's talking to another woman about us or about what's going on in our relationship. Like, you should be talking to me, sis. He tried to talk to you and you wouldn't let that man get a word in. So all I'm saying is, before you accuse him of being a poor communicator, take a look at how your conversations go, especially when you're mad, or especially when you're on a rampage. Do you even give that man the space to say whatever it is he needs to say without you making him feel like he can't?
All right. So she said a lot. But the idea here is she was a woman addressing women. And she says, sis, is he really a poor communicator, or are you just a conversation bully? Right? Do you just want to dominate and be heard and say what you want to say? And we defined conversation bully according to Chat GPT. Conversation bully is a person. It refers to an individual who uses verbal manipulation, aggression, and coercion during a conversation to dominate, intimidate, or belittle others. This behavior can involve shouting, interrupting, dismissing others' opinions, rather, using sarcasm, belittling comments, and making personal attacks. Personal attacks, like Dre said, ranking on people can be considered bullying, conversation bullying. And Parrish, the goal of a conversation bully is to assert control over the dialogue and suppress the contributions of others, often leaving the victim feeling uncomfortable, invalidated, and powerless. So that is the backstory. We got you all caught up. And now the question here to you is, what is a way that people have tried to be conversation bullies in your opinion? What have you seen it before, and how would you describe it?
A lot of different ways. I mostly experience it with women or immature men. Usually women talking to me, but through a conversation, or just, cattiness, or taking jabs, or things like that, and throwing off the conversation to where now I'm trying to do something professional, but, in a social way, but you've changed the whole comments, and now there's a new narrative. And if I overreact, then I look like, it used to feel like that. Now I don't, even when it's men, especially, because it's not going to be good for who I am, and women looking at me. If I try to go toe to toe with a conversation bully, that's a man. And I know that if he's acting like that, it's not even me. It's something I'm triggering in them. So it's even more so the reason for me to, if they want, what are they bullying? Because they want the attention, or they want to be right. I'm not even here for that, so I don't have to put forth that much energy. Bullies don't work for me in conversations, because if I'm not valued in the conversation, I just can't contribute somewhere else.
I see. I remember there was an episode of the Zodiac show that you were on, Kevin Tate's show. Shout out to Kevin Tate. And one of the ladies on the show misunderstood something. I came in the middle, but it was a lady on the show that I guess heard something go a certain way, heard a comment that you made, and in my opinion, that's when she just began to just go off and kind of bully the whole conversation and make accusations about who you are. And I know who you are. I've seen your type. And she was bullying Parrish, or trying to, Dre. She was bullying the conversation. I feel like you handled that pretty well, because I never saw you attack aggression with aggression. And so
Because
that,
also she's a young woman. So me being like that is not good for the old people brand, so
yeah,
it's like I'm
you're supposed to
thinking
have
big.
wisdom. You're
Yeah.
supposed to have wisdom.
Right. Right.
Look at this right here, Parrish. That aligns with this point. Avoid engaging emotionally. Do not take their comments personally or retaliate with similar aggression. Focus on the content of the conversation rather than their tone or tactics. I think we talked about that, but that's what I saw you do. You didn't respond emotionally to this lady.
No, I knew I said things that would trigger emotions in her, but it would just more so prove the point. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I knew I have a right to speak too. I'm not going to call you names and say things about you, but I know I might sound like I was maybe falling into that line, but I called it for what it was. She was full of,
Mm-hmm.
but I told her scientifically why she was. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm not a bully, but I'm not a wimp either.
Right. Right. Okay. Dre, did you, I think you were going to talk about point number 4, Dre. Avoid.
Emotions. And yeah, it's funny because like I said, a lot of people come with emotions. Even men. I mean, right now what's going on is this whole feminist movement, and then it's on the opposite side, this real red pill movement. You know, men have to be so strong, and you know, and only women are emotional. That's not true. We have emotions just as much as women do.
Right.
We're just a little bit, most of the time, a little bit better hiding it. But today, with this generation going now, this is what it's funny because I always say this: prison is filled with a bunch of emotional tough guys. You know what I'm saying? These guys did not know how to handle their emotions. That's why they act the way they did. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you had a code. Even if you're a thug or whatever, you had a certain code that you follow. Now these guys' emotions get all twisted up in it, and they just wreck everything. So I always say you have a bunch of emotional tough guys because it's when you were raised before, we were raised by our fathers. You know, I was fortunate to have my father in the house. Most of the people in my neighborhood at my age had their father in the house. You know, so what happened was our fathers raised us to be men and also handle our emotions. The world is going to come at you like this because you're a black man, especially. You know what I'm saying? So this is how you handle yourself in those situations. The problem is now we don't have the men in the family, in the household to raise a lot of our young brothers. So they don't know how to handle their emotions because they just see their mothers, when their mothers get emotional, and that's all they know is to get emotional. So they will use that in a conversation to try to dominate the conversation, emotions. But like I said, in the end, logic wins every single time.
Okay. All right. Next bullet point. I think this is the last bullet point on how to prevent conversation bullying. 5, you want to enlist the support or end the conversation. Enlist support or end the conversation. If the situation persists, seek the support of others present, or if necessary, calmly disengage by stating, "This is not productive. Let's revisit it later. This conversation is not productive. Let's revisit it later." Parrish, I've seen you do that too, where you won't engage. You just won't get negative.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm not built for that. I just want to have a positive, uplifting conversation. I know I didn't do anything to anybody, but if I represent that in someone, then I'm okay, you know, letting them have what they want. I already have everything I want, so we don't have to do all that. It's not that serious.
You already have what you want. It's not that serious. I think a lot of times, guys, and y'all can tell me if you think this is a contributor. Ego is a big deal when it comes to trying to bully the conversation. Some people they like to hear themselves talk, or they want to be right, or they want to be the loudest person in the room, or they're stubborn as hell. Ego drives a lot of conversation bullying. Do you agree with that one, Trey?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, ego drives a lot of things. I mean, like I said, I've been working in the executive protection industry for years. So it's like I come across a lot of people who want to dominate the conversation and even take it further, you know. And it's like this. I always tell them, and I tell them just like this, very calmly, don't let your ego get you fucked up. You know, because guys, they get around girls, even if they're afraid to do something. Now they got this ego. They got, oh, these girls are watching. I gotta be this guy now. So I always say, don't let your ego get you fucked up.
Oh man. I'm just trying to think of other ways. Let me go back to point 5. Enlist support from others or calmly disengage. When someone says, you know what, I don't want to talk about this right now, or I need a moment. I think we've said enough. Let's talk about this, revisit it later. When someone says that, if I'm the one that's kind of intense or passionate or incensed, it irks me because I'm like, no, I want to solve this right now. Can we please just deal with the problem? But I had to learn, no, some people just don't have the energy in that moment. They could have had a long day. They could be mentally drained. They could be emotionally drained. Some people are like, you know what? I've reached my maximum level of grace. If we keep talking, I'm about to cuss you the hell out because you pissing me off, and let's just stop now and take a moment. I've had to learn to let people have that moment. Like, David, you ain't gotta solve it tonight. Just, they need a moment, give them a moment. Because when I need a moment, I want them to respect my feelings. But I've had to learn to give people moments. Anybody feel that they've needed a moment before, or they've dealt with somebody where it's like, I had to give them a moment?
Well, yeah, I have. I mean, I've never really needed a moment because I can have a conversation no matter what time of day it is, and we can work it out. But I've dealt with other people who needed some time because like sometimes if you explain certain things, they're like this, I didn't get it. Let me have a moment and think about what was said. So yeah, you have to let them have that moment. Me, I'm the one, I like to communicate. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about relationship. What's the secret about a relationship? Having a long lasting relationship. 1 is love, of course. 2 is communication. 3 is communication. 4 is communication. 5 is communication. You have to know how to communicate, and you have to be able to read people's cues. Like I know when my fiance, I know when she's at that point where I can't talk right now. I have to really reflect on everything that was said, and I know when to back off. And some people accuse me of being too calm sometimes. So,
I mean, Paris, do you get accused of being too calm? Because you always have a calm demeanor. I've never really, I actually have never seen you angry. I don't think I've ever seen you
You wouldn't
angry.
like me if I'm angry. I'm like,
she's about to turn green on us.
All right, Incredible Hulk. All right.
Hey, Dave, I gotta go. My daughter's waking up. I gotta go, brother.
Oh, do your thing, man. We'll see you on the next episode, Dre. I appreciate you.
Definitely. You take care, brother.
Yes, sir. It's my man, Dre. We popped in tonight. Appreciate it for joining. All right, Paris, give me your. I've never seen you lose your temper or get angry. And have you been accused of being too calm at times?
yeah, well, no, I think especially in relationships, that's always been something that people have spoke very positively about. But what didn't go well is when in my last couple of relationships where it was really important to them that I was happy with them. That if something that just I didn't like, I mean, we agreed to disagree. I'm okay, but I'm not in a real talking mood right now because we kind of, it was like weird vibrations and stuff. So I don't want to, if he's like, okay, so on, let's talk, or I say something. And I'm like, I'm not really, I don't have anything. Oh, so you're mad? I'm like, no, if I talk now, it's because you're telling me and I'm being fake. I feel wonky, partially because I was a little bit upset about what we were talking about, but there's nothing to be upset about. So let me change my emotions. And I'm trying to just be okay with I'm not saying you were wrong. I just know I feel weird because I maybe was wrong or something. I don't know what it was. I just need some time to process that. But I don't mean let's get space and I don't want to talk to you. It just means if you want to engage with me, I want to engage with you, but I'm not going to be smiley and happy right now because I'm processing what was said. So, yeah.
I had to learn that. Parrish. I had to learn, like, there are some people that need a second. You know what I mean? And look, I'm like that when I'm tired. If I've been working my ass off and I've been editing my podcast, and putting out episodes and working all day at work and thinking and critically and analytically at work, then coming home and potting for 2.5, 3 hours, and then staying up for 3 more hours editing. If I do that for 2 or 3 nights in a row, I'm tired as hell. And so I know that I'm useless when my brain is tired and I need sleep. I can't make good decisions like that. But I used to be the kind of guy that I had all this energy, mental energy. And if my partner at the time, if she wasn't in the mood, but we had a discussion, I'd be like, no, let's talk about it. No, let's solve it tonight. I had to learn that just because a person is quiet, or if a person is thinking or processing, or if a person is reflecting and in deep thought about something, and maybe their face indicates whatever they were thinking about was uncomfortable. It indicates that they're tired, they were frustrated, they remember argument. What I've learned is give them that time. If they're like, hey, just because I look like I'm pissed off, if I tell you I'm okay, I need you to believe me. I've had to learn, okay, believe what they say, give them time to process. Like you said, Parrish, you could hear something and sometimes just need a minute to just process it and get it and understand what it means. And then you can have a conversation. Sometimes I've learned as a talker, I've got to let people have their time.
Dave, you know the interesting thing about that experience? I remember him saying, you know, how do you think that makes me feel if I've been working all this time and just because we had a circle of misunderstandings and we didn't agree with each other, but now, I still have the rest of the day off. I want you to smile at me. I want you to be, and I was like, but I would thought you would want me to be real. I'm not even mad at you, but I don't feel like smiling
You
right
don't
now.
feel like smiling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's concerned about what's it going to be like when we get to this dinner party or when we get to the concert. It's like I'm going to be happy, but in the moment, can I be real?
Yeah. I used to someone used to say, David, I'm not a light switch. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that until I realized that I also have to process emotions and process mental things, especially when I'm tired. When I'm awake and I got my caffeine or I worked out, I got my energy, I might be, neurons firing, clicking. I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm with it. All right. I'm quick. But yeah, when I'm tired, I'll be like, not right now. Especially my thing is, Parrish, when I've had a long day at work, I want a transition moment. I need to decompress. If I come in from the office and jump straight on this computer and start podcasting, yeah, I might be able to do a show, but I've been wound up all day. So after the show, I want to just do nothing. I will sit here and watch a comedy. I'll watch a cartoon. I'll watch the goofiest thing that's good that I don't have to analyze. I don't have to make a decision. All I got to do is laugh. I'll do that to bring myself down, or I'll find myself on goofy YouTube videos or TikTok videos, and just to bring my whole mental, processing
But when
power
you regulate
down.
yourself to where okay, now I feel good. Let me engage with Blue or Destiny or work or whatever. It's the best you can bring because you did it yourself. Okay, now I'm ready.
Yep.
But it's almost like, okay, come on, let's do it. And you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I want to make you happy, but I need that extra 15 minutes. But if you're not going to be happy, then let me choose that. And I was like, that's my old life in my other relationships when I was younger, where I was a people pleaser. I want to be real. However, the woman wisdom in me was like, maybe I wouldn't have changed a thing, but I also didn't appreciate men as much as I do now. Like, okay, your butt's gonna be single for a while. You got a man that just wants you to be happy. He's been waiting all this time to be all
Right.
for you to smile, and he doesn't want to mess that up because of a disagreement. So I see the balance in it.
It is a balance because as a man and as a partner, you got to understand when your woman is not always going to be chipper and happy and pleasant. Like, women have emotions. And what I've had to learn, right? Second time around, this marriage, the final marriage, right? I've had to learn, like, all right, you know what, David? It's okay. Okay. Your wife need a moment. Give her a moment. It's all right. She says she's okay, even though she don't look like she's okay. She says she okay. Boom. Trust her. And just go about your day. I've learned to say, you want to keep talking about it? She says, not right now. And I'll be like, you sure? Because I want to talk about it. No, not right now. I say, okay, baby. Because what I don't want her to do it because I'm making her by asking so much. Please, let's talk. Let's get to the bottom of it. Explain, please. I want to understand. No, man, back off. You gonna be with this person the rest of your life. Y'all got time. You gonna
They're not going nowhere.
You're
So
not going nowhere. You're gonna have and see, now we're getting into this though. Some people drive conversations and quote unquote bully conversations out of fear.
Mhm.
They're afraid that if you're not happy, Parrish, you're gonna leave me. If you're not smiling and happy, you're gonna get disgusted with me and you're gonna leave, or I won't be happy with you because I wanted a happy wife and you always processing. Like
And
some
then
people.
there's the toxic person that knows they're making the person feel that way. So they could be
Mm,
manipulating them. So that to me, I feel the bottom line that I've always heard from the other people who are licensed in relationship therapy, that's not what I'm licensed in, but they say, yes, passive aggressive, introverted people, whatever category you're in, you get your time, but you're supposed to follow back up with them because they said they wanted to know now, but they're being graceful to say, okay, I'll back off. So you should let them know, not right now, later on. It's your responsibility because you're saying, I don't have it to give you right now. Okay, well,
mm-hmm.
eventually you're going to, so let them know when that is. So then it's a balance. So everybody, it's not it's everybody's take. It has to be a constant flow. And so now it's your time, since you wanted to talk about it, you got to talk about it the right way. And so then she's got to listen, so it just keeps going where it's a flow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree 1,000%. And the other thing, we're for those that are just watching, we're talking about conversation bullying, and the point here, how to prevent it. Bullet number 5 is enlist support or end the conversation. And sometimes you have to end the conversation. Sometimes you got to say, you know what, I'm upset, you're upset. Let's take a breather. Let's let's take a minute. You know, and back in the day, Parish, I used to get mad or something and I would leave, right? What I've learned now is you can take space within the space. You can be mad, but still be in the house.
How does
you know,
that feel?
you,
You started getting comfortable with that.
um, you become a more mature conflict resolver,
Mhm.
right? You want to argue fairly. You want to disagree fairly. You don't want to be dirty in your disagreement tactics. Like no low blows, no personal attacks, right? Let's deal with the topic. The topic is you've been messing with the thermostat. The topic is you leave your socks everywhere, David. The topic is you know, your back hurt 2 nights in a row. Well, my back hurt too, but you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Let's deal with the topic. Let's not deal with, well, all my life I had to fight. Well, we're not talking about all your life. We're talking about this one moment with your wife or this one moment with your husband. We're talking about just right now. Now, after we get past the intensity, we can talk about all my life and
Mhm.
and why I wanted to marry you and what I was hoping to get out of marriage. And we can talk about all that at some point. I'm not saying that your life struggles aren't important. But sometimes in the moment, you just want to deal with the topic. And if you can't because emotions are high, people are tired, stressed out, too many responsibilities, it's like, okay, let's just leave it alone and let's talk about it later. You know, so it feels good, but it's definitely it's a growth process. It's a growth process, but it feels good to have someone that I can grow with, and that is patient because one thing I'll say about my wife, she will remember to revisit.
Yeah.
If she says let's put it on the back burner, she'll come back and revisit, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
That's wonderful. I feel that just in general, the way that you flow and the work that you do and all the things that you named, and you're a newlywed, and you both, to me, I thought you guys both seem like showbiz, but I know that she's not not
Yeah, she's
yet.
behind the scenes. She's
Yeah,
not
when
a
you
on
guys,
camera person.
like, when you're together, it just seems like that. But it's great that you have that synergy, because that's what it is. It's not like, okay, you better do this and you better do that. No, because you're going to have to do that too, but you have to do it in a different way. It's like it's when you have the love of your life, it's a flow,
Yeah.
and it sometimes it's a slow flow, and you got to be patient until it flows back around. But if you
Right.
know they're not going anywhere, now if you think they're cheating or they might leave you again, then yeah, you're gonna be paranoid.
Now we're getting back to, though, right? Living in fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't live in fear. And look, you could find your destiny. You quote unquote, you could find your person and still have fears.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be anything they're doing. It could be something you're dealing with. It could be on David. David could be living in fear. I can't blame destiny. It's like, what am I afraid of? You know what I'm saying? And
That
then now we
causes
get,
conversation bullying. When people start speaking out of fear, they
yeah,
should start bullying in conversations.
yeah. Let's go back to the definition. I want the people to see this. For all of those that missed it, look at this definition right here. An individual who uses verbal manipulation, aggression, and coercion during a conversation to dominate, intimidate, or belittle others. His behavior can involve shouting, interrupting, dismissing others' opinions, using sarcasm, belittling comments, and making personal attacks. The goal is to assert control over the dialogue and suppress the contributions of others, often leaving the victim feeling uncomfortable, invalidated, and powerless. And we talked a little bit earlier, Parrish, that before you jumped on, about how um, passive aggressiveness can also be a form of conversation bullying, crying, getting emotional, expanding the argument to, like I said, all my life I had to fight type conversations when we really just dealing with, once you didn't wash the dishes. Um, those all, playing a victim. We talked about talking over someone's level, talking down to them. Like maybe if you have a better vocabulary than they do, you just over talking them with big words. Some people will literally overtalk you. They'll just talk fast.
Mm-hmm.
They just talk fast and talk a lot, like, diarrhea at the mouth per se. And if you look at this picture, you see the words just pouring out of this lady's mouth like a megaphone. That's why I picked that picture. So there's a bunch of different ways that someone could bully a conversation. Um, Before we close it out, because we've been going for a minute here, I want you to give me some of the ways that you or women that you've coached, you would recommend that they can avoid being bullied in a conversation, or maybe how they can avoid becoming the bully. You can pick either side.
I have something that will help with both,
All right.
but you got it, ladies. Don't get upset right away. Be quiet, because when somebody's bullying, especially if it's the person that you are in love with, you love that man, you love his dirty draws, you might say the wrong thing at the wrong time because you got the comfort level that that's a man that you love, but you don't want to say something to hurt him, you don't want to be arguing. But if you're quiet, if he's being a bully, then you could let his words out. Everybody has a ugly side sometimes, and sometimes the person they love the most will see that. So if you're seeing the bully in the man that you're in love with, let him get it off. And then when he's done, if you're not, if you just give them what they want, this is the man you're in love with. If you just give them what they want, which is to be heard and be right or whatever, let them have it. Guys have done it for centuries. Yes, dear. Yes. And if you don't want to be a bully, be quiet. Let the other person get off and do what they have to, or say what they have to say, so that they can feel heard. It's the golden gift, quiet.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Man, I tell you, a lot of Parrish, a lot of men would appreciate that statement, and I'm not being condescending at all, ladies, when I say this. There's a lot of women out here that just won't let a man talk. You just you won't, and not only will you not let them talk, when you do finally let them talk, you ain't listening anyway because you're listening to respond and to attack and to defend and to justify. When maybe he just needs you to just hear him. Just hear him out. And I'm talking about men that don't that aren't the best communicators. Because that was a part of the title, Parrish. Part of the title today was, is he or she a poor communicator? Is he or she a poor communicator? Or are you a conversation bully? Because sometimes men get quiet in conversations because they don't have the desire to argue. And they also may not have the verbal dexterity to argue with some women that are really, really good with words. Some men just don't have the energy. Some men don't have the desire. So you got to understand, if he's shutting down, it doesn't mean necessarily that he's a poor communicator. It could just be that he feels like, what's the point? Why should I keep arguing with her? Because she ain't going to hear me anyway. She's going to hear to argue and not hear to understand.
Yeah.
Boom. Boom, is that simple.
That's it. That's
Oh, man. All right. I like that, Parrish. I think that to recap for all of those that just came on board, we defined a conversation bully, and then we gave 5 points to prevent conversation bullying. 1 was to stay calm and composed and maintain a steady tone. 2 was to set boundaries and politely but firmly call out the behavior and say, hey, I'd like to finish. Please avoid attacking me with personal comments. 3 was to redirect the conversation. Steer the conversation back to the topic at hand, emphasizing collaboration and mutual respect in order to neutralize their attempts at controlling the narrative. 4, avoid engaging emotionally. Do not take their comments personal or retaliate with similar aggression. In other words, don't be petty and fight petty with petty. And lastly, enlist the support of others that are around to join the conversation, or just simply disengage by saying, this isn't productive. Let's talk about it later. Those are the 5 ways to prevent conversation bullying. Anything you want to share before we get out of here, Parrish?
No, I thought those were great shares. That I'm going to apply those in my life. I'm not an expert in avoiding bullies or not being one. I just try to do it a little bit at a time. So I enjoy conversations like this because it brings to mind, like, when you do have somebody that you love or the people you care about, communication is the glue to those relationships. So being a better listener, I think, always helps too. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for allowing me to be a part of your awesome conversations.
Oh, absolutely. Nesh Dinesha, she said, hey, Parrish, your hair looks great.
Hi. Oh, thank you.
She said, you're looking great tonight. And then she also said a lot of couples have the problem of conversation bullying and not hearing the other person out. So look, hopefully everyone will get a chance to check this out on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook and Twitter. It will be posted to YouTube. It's live right now, so you'll be able to get it at least after we hang up, after we end the discussion. You can get it on Twitter. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on Facebook. All right, and what I want y'all to do is subscribe. Parrish, I appreciate you for joining.
Thank you.
This has been another great episode. We're going to be back next week with one of our episodes that's already in the can, episode, I think, 289. Okay, cool. Thanks, Parrish. We'll see you later. It's after dark, y'all. Look at that.